used to think God is the sun, God is the sun, but God's so much more than the earth and the stars and all of creation. God is creator, all and all, leading us to shine its light as me, as you. So use me, oh God, I stand before you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. All that I want you to do is command my hands. What must they do? Command my life, it's here for you. God is the love that heals all creation. God is creator, makes all things new, and God needs us to shine its light as me, as you. So use me, oh God, I stand before you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. And God needs us to shine its light. God needs us to shine its light. God needs us to shine its light as me, as you. So use me, oh God, I stand before you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. Good morning, Open Heart, and welcome to our live stream celebration for this Sunday, December the 6th, 2020. And indeed, it is that most wonderful time of the year, the time when so many religious systems around the world are celebrating the season of light, moving from darkness into light, recognizing the power of darkness, which we will talk about this month, but also celebrating the coming of the light. So whether it's celebrating Advent, Hanukkah, or many of the other celebrations, most of them at this time of year are focusing on light and what light means. So I welcome you to this live stream and know that all is well. I urge you also to do what you can to stay safe, wear your mask, practice social distancing, stay in when you can, and to do things so that we can stem the tide of this pandemic. May you be safe, each and every one of you. And as always, I greet you. I bless you. I see God in you. Our December daily affirmation. Won't you say it with me where you are? Our theme is the light has come. Out of the darkness of the long night, the light has come. I rise to meet the new day, filled with confidence and strength. The lamp of the soul has been rekindled with the oil of faith. Love has cleansed the windows of life. With the spirit of hope, my light has come.
Let me begin by saying thank you for the invitation to Reverend John to share in this meditational moment as you are celebrating as an Alpha 114 years of service, working for justice. And that's why this particular reading, I think, is appropriate for looking at a world that works for all. This particular quote first comes from Donald Walsh. There is no truth except the truth that exists within you. Everything else is what someone is telling you. And then Ernest Holmes, principle is not bound by precedent, and our good is not limited or conditioned by any good that has ever been manifest. The global vision in no way requires for you to give up your spiritual value or to refrain from expressing them with conviction. Instead of wishing a world would fall into our own way of thinking, it would be better if we would become tuned in into the right thinking and truth for ourselves that shapes the choices we make and influence how we show up in the world. Affirmation. Today, I embrace the diverse ways in which the truth shows up, and I embrace it with love and awe. Today, I embrace the diverse ways that truth shows up. Blessings.
Good morning. These are our announcements for this Sunday, December the 6th, 2020. We first off want to say happy birthday to all of our December babies. Congratulations on another journey around the sun. May each and every one of you have a fantastic birthday, and like many people, they celebrate well beyond the day. They have a birthday week and even a birthday month, and may your celebration be grand and glorious. Michael, Jaleesa, Alejandra, Audrey, and Maeve. We remember those that are on our prayer list as you see the names that are here, and know that each and every day during our daily prayer call, members of our prayer team, we hold the space for you. We remember you. And even beyond that, when you can't see in those times that are not visible, we are holding space. We are knowing the truth for you, being your partner in believing with those who need healing. We know your health and your wholeness, and we hold that for you. For those who need comforting in times of bereavement and grief, we see for you and know the strength that pulls you through these situations and circumstances. For those who have challenges and face challenges in life, we know again that there is a strength beyond our strength that gives strength to your strength, and we continue to hold the space to call your name. And I invite you to do that for each and every person on this list and beyond, to know that wherever you are physically, it does not matter, because there's only one mind, only one presence, and only one spirit. And when we hold the attitude of prayer, it changes things. I'm honored to have been invited to be a part of this panel that is entitled "What is Standing in Between You and Diversity and Inclusion." It's sponsored by the Memphis Area Association of Realtors, and it will be this Tuesday, December the 8th at 2 p.m. And I'm delighted to be a part of this panel along with my colleagues, Latricia Adams and Sherilyn Payton. And it's moderated by Monica Maurizio. And it's a way that you can register at maar.org and view this for yourself. And I invite you to do so. Hope that you will do so. But I'm honored to be a part of this panel. Each Tuesday at 12:30 p.m. Central Time, our Midday Love Grid meditation that is led by Vertania Allen. Again, it's a wonderful way to, in the middle of the day, center down and find balance, to find center, to flow in the flow of love. Again, I'm always looking for people who will record videos of themselves doing an affirmative reading. Today, I want to thank the Reverend Janet G. Petty, who recorded today's affirmative reading. Thank you very much for that. It was a very special one that's very meaningful to me. And thanks to our own Villa Willis, who made this possible, who made the connection. And you too can record your affirmative reading and email it to me. Each and every morning at 8 a.m. Central Time, we have our daily affirmative prayer call. Members of our prayer team lead it. You have an opportunity to tune in to hear an inspirational reading and then to be led in prayer, affirmative prayer, by one of our prayer team.
I welcome you to the centering moment. Let us get centered and present as we prepare our hearts and minds for the message to come. If you would join me taking a deep breath in. Again. And again. From this centered place, this centering moment, may we have ears to hear and feet to act.
จะได้อะไรถ้าเขาทำแบบนี้ทุกวันเขาจะไม่ได้อะไรเลยไม่ได้รวยขึ้นไม่ได้ออกทีวีไม่มีใครรู้จักไม่ได้มีชื่อเสียงที่มากขึ้นเพราะสิ่งที่เขาได้คือได้แค่ความรู้สึกได้เห็นความสุขได้เข้าใจได้ความรักได้ในสิ่งที่เงินซื้อไม่ได้ได้โลกที่สวยงามกว่าเดิมในชีวิตคุณอะไรคือสิ่งที่คุณต้องการมากที่สุด
True to the light within. I shared this video because the man in this video, unsung hero, was true to the light within himself. He took the opportunity wherever he was to turn to the light within and allow that light to shine, and it affect how he dealt with other people. And as the video pointed out, while he will never get on television or any of the kinds of other things there, he was someone who acted on the true essence of himself and operated in that way. And in this time, in this season, I think it's so important that we remember the light within and that we allow ourselves to be true to the light within. Prior to this pandemic, when we were experiencing still a lot of chaos and unrest and other kinds of things in this country, one of the things I noticed was the fact that in the midst of all of this, there were people I encountered who were going out of their way to be nice and polite, to do the kinds of things that really make our world a better world. And it was kind of puzzling in one way, because if you turn to social media, and it's one thing I admit that I do pay a lot of attention to for the various things that I do, you would think that our world was at odds with one another. Our communities were completely at odds with one another. But I found there to be some difference from what I saw. And I have to understand that the social media has its algorithms, and it pays attention to whatever you like, you see more of it. Whoever you follow and have conversation and interaction with, you get more of that and see what they post. And it can become very easy to think that everybody's thinking like you, or to think that everything that is happening each day revolves around certain issues and subjects and everything else. And so we can get a skewed vision of the world. And it reminds me of an experience that I had early on as a pastor, and it has shaped and molded a lot of what I do. There was a man in the congregation who was one of the leaders, who very often would come to me and say, "Pastor, people are saying this, they're saying that, they don't like this, they disagree with that." All of the things that he was sharing with me. And I was making decisions based off of what he was telling me, because after all, he was a leader and he was sharing with me what other people were saying. And then I started talking to people myself, and I learned that what he was telling me people were thinking and saying wasn't necessarily true. And then as I stepped back from the situation and I thought about it and analyzed it for a moment, I realized that there was a very small circle within the congregation that he even communicated with. And if those people were saying a certain thing or feeling a certain way, to him, it meant that everybody was. But that wasn't necessarily the truth. And I learned to move beyond that and to operate from the internal guidance that was there. And things happened for me. Eddie Watkins Jr., who is a musician, a New Thought musician that we feature his music quite often here at Open Heart. And he shared the story of how he lives in what he describes as a conservative area of Florida. And during the political season last year, in the aftermath of the debates, he walked into a restaurant. And he said as he sat down, he noticed a guy across just kept staring at him, and he felt a little bit uneasy. So he struck up a conversation and they started to talk. And in the middle of the conversation, the man said to him, "Well, you know, we aren't supposed to be talking to one another." And Eddie Watkins Jr. said, "Yeah, I know that." And the man said, "Forget them." And Eddie said, he said also, "Forget them." And they continued to communicate and to relate to one another from that place within that recognizes, as I always talk about, the divinity in another person. It's important for us to be able to be true to the light that's within. And the way that we do that, I'm reminded of in the scripture that's Romans, the 12th chapter, the 2nd verse, that says, "To not be conformed to this world, but to be transformed by the renewing of your mind." Another way it has been rendered is, don't let the world shape you into its mold. And it's a very important thing to consider, a very important thing to do, to allow ourselves to become transformed by the renewing of our mind. Many people oftentimes point to this scripture and use the example of the difference between a thermometer and a thermostat. A thermometer simply registers temperature. If you want to know what the temperature is, you look at a thermometer. If you want to know what your temperature is, and in this day and time in which we live, a lot of places that we go that have those thermometers that they will use to check your temperature. But then there's the thermostat. The thermostat, rather than just simply checking temperature, it regulates temperature. It's beyond registering, and it's about regulating, that we can be true to the light within and become transformed by the renewing of our mind. And in this season, it's important. I'm not trying to deny the insanity of the world or the injustices that are there or all of the things that we are experiencing right now, the continued things that are happening in the midst of this pandemic, how many people feel abandoned by our leaders who should be in this moment leading in the midst of what is taking place, but choose to do otherwise. I'm not ignoring any of those things, but I think that it's important for you and I to shine our truest light, to be in this place where we are true to the light within. Because what we will affect is the area and the places that are in our circles of influence and our realm of being. This is the season where it's time to uncover our individual light. The holiday season is a time when we can focus on the best possibilities of humankind and how the light within in the midst of darkness can transform and to make a difference. It's a time for renewal. It's a time where we can think about things on this journey and this path of renewal and illumination. And it's important that we do this. And there's some things I'd like to suggest this morning that I think that we can do. The first is If you don't like where you are now, just remember that it's a place that you are meant to go through. I say so very often to people to learn the difference between a stop and a step. There are things and places where you find yourself in life. It doesn't have to be a stop. It can be a step. You can learn from it. You can grow through it. You can go through it. You can understand that it's a step to something greater. Learn to give thanks. Light expands with gratitude. Every time that you express gratitude, shift happens. Every time that you express gratitude, you become truer to the light that is within. The more that you do, and even those things that are adverse circumstances, that as you learn to express gratitude for them, the lesson that they hold for you, the learning that it provides for you, the understanding and the awareness that comes that when you are able to give thanks in all circumstances, it changes the perspective and it changes and it expands with light. We also have to understand that light is magnetic, that it pulls things out of darkness and draws them to itself. So give light to the hurtful memories that are in your life and any victimhood that might be weighing you down. Shine the light of truth on it. Again, asking Spirit, asking God, asking Source to show you where the lesson is in it. Demand that you see it. Understand that in the midst of this, it helps you to understand the resilience and the resources and all of the things that you have available to you that are bringing you through this moment. Your expanding consciousness of light will not only help you to get real about where you are, but it helps you to get real about where you need encouragement. It helps you to understand that there are other people who need support from you. Ask yourself, what truth do I tell myself about how I feel? What wisdom is revealed in doing so? And then taking that, in what ways can I offer encouragement to others? I loved it in that video that we saw, how this man provided constantly encouragement and help for others. He got beyond himself and beyond his circumstances to do things for others. And as he did so, as the video asked the question, what does it receive for it? Doesn't get more money or anything, but the joy and the emotions and the awareness of being true to the light within himself made an abundant difference. Who do we have to forgive in this season? Shining the light of forgiveness on situations and circumstances. Some things that are important to understand is that forgiveness ultimately is not for the other person that has wronged us, but it's for ourselves. We can't carry those things around all the time. They serve us no good. When Nelson Mandela, who yesterday was the 7-year anniversary of his transition, was released from Robben Island, and some people asked him, how could he forgive the jailers who held him captive, who kept him prisoner in all that time for 27 years? And when Mandela walked out the gate, he said, I knew that if I continued to hate these people, I'd still be in prison. It didn't mean that he condoned their actions or any of that, but it helped him to understand that as he released the tie and used the light of forgiveness, that it allowed him to move on with his life. And we know to do all of those things. And then finally, give yourself the gift of intentionally affirming that it's God's light that magnifies the greatest possibilities in you. As you do, you will function from faith and act from consciousness. You are God's energy outlet. Let me say that again. You are God's energy outlet and God's light source. That when you are true to that life within, it allows you to come forth and to shine and to be an inspiration to the world. then know that you are a source in that place from that light that is coming there. I think about this time of year every time years ago when my son Kenny was a little boy, and we put together a big Christmas for him, bought him many of the things that he had said that he wanted for Christmas. And I remember that Christmas morning, we got up early and he was excitedly going through all of the presents, tearing the wrapping paper off and taking things from under the tree. And he was so excited about it. And then the next day, he asked if we could go to one of the fast food restaurants because as a part of their meal for kids, they had a certain toy. And I was a little puzzled by all of that because, you know, he'd had all of these other things that he'd gotten. Why was he so fascinated about this toy? But we went, got the meal for him, we got home, and the toy that he had, when he pulled it out and took the paper off of it, it was just simply a piece of cardboard with some slits in it. And he looked at it, he was a bit disappointed. But then I suddenly realized what the toy was all about. I took it inside of my bedroom, I turned the light that was on and shone it on there, and I walked out for a while and I left it there. Later on that night, I took the toy into his room and I showed him something. That as he opened the slits that were on that little piece of cardboard, it started to shine. And the reason why was that there was a material inside of it, and when it was exposed to the light, it absorbed that light, it absorbed that energy, and that allowed it to shine. And that's what it is, that we have the source that we have been exposed to. God, the universe, the creator, the first cause, the one mind, whatever words we use to describe it. Its light is eternal and it continues to shine. And we now reflect that light. We now have that light that we can be true within too. And we can illuminate the places where we are. We can live from that light. We can understand from that light. We can be in the world from that light. So I say to you this holiday season, this first Sunday in December, to be true to the light within. Amen, Ashe, Namaste, and so it is.
Child is this who lay to rest on Mary's lap is sleeping, whom angels greet with an
prayer. Knowing that there is only one power and one presence in the universe, and that is God. And as each of us embodies all that we have learned today, we take it in, we make it our own, and we simply live from those very truths. We give thanks for all that have participated today. We give thanks for the lesson, the music, the centering moment, the affirmative reading, and just all of the beautiful energy and light that each and every person has brought into this space and into this place today. And knowing, moving forward, that light is born from darkness. So when I'm in one of those dark places, I know that there is hope and there is always light. Because I am a radiant light of God, and I shine the light of freedom. I release, I let go, and I let God, and so it is.
Infinite prosperity is mine to share. Thank you so much for your support of us through your conscious giving. We know that times can be uncertain, but you continue to support Open Heart, and it is truly appreciated. You can do so via our app. You can do so online or text the word GIVE to 615-422-4292. Thanks again.
There was a time in my life I thought I had to do it all for myself. I didn't know that the grace of God was sufficient, and I didn't know that the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling to make it through another day, you got to let it go, let it all go. And this is what you have to say. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggles, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggles, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggles, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God.
are times in our life we give up the fight. We sit down and cry. We let life pass us by. Keep on, look at the past. Things that just didn't last. We gave up too fast. We chose to let it all go. Just listen, just listen. Spirit is calling, our hearts are yearning. Just listen, just listen. Feel your heart burning. Your mind is learning to let go. Be in the flow, then you will know who you really are, who you really are. Just listen. And so it is.